5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from the Smut Studio in overcast Venice Beach, California, with my co-host today, Tug Coker.
Hello, Andy.
How you doing, Tug?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah?
As I told you off air, been up since 5. Went to bed at 1. I got the 2 kids driving me nuts. You asked me if I ever regretted having these 2 kids, and I said, what'd I say?
Every day.
Every single day.
In fact, not only did you say every day, you did not hesitate.
There's no hesitation. It's like a Kobe jumper. No hesitation.
Just go for it.
Exactly.
Which is funny because when you ask people about kids, and especially after what you just said about the sleepless nights, the nonstop running around, people say, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. You, on the other hand, are like, every day I would.
I would trade it so fast, like a fantasy football trade, man. I would do that so fast.
Yeah.
The reality is like I was trying to have a discussion with my wife if we were going to go for 3.
Ooh.
It changes first of all, we're like, yeah, maybe 3. I'm a product of 3 kids
Yeah.
in my family. But, I don't know how my parents did it. I don't know how your parents did it. I mean, with five boys?
5 boys.
That's crazy. I have 2 boys.
It's nuts.
The energy in your house must have been unbelievable at the apex.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
I talk about it when my parents would do their occasional, and it was rare, date night out, and the boys were left.
did you have 1 babysitter or 2?
Well, you got to remember the difference between oldest to youngest is 11 years. Mm-hmm. So at a certain point,
They became the babysitter.
Yeah.
The oldest was the babysitter.
So most of my memory is my oldest brother being the babysitter. But it's also like, look who's leading the pack.
That's ridiculous. That is so scary.
So just tears. Wrestling, somebody's crying. I can just remember one night when we were at that point, we were all into wrestling. At the time, the WWF, right?
Yep.
And we're all picking characters, and you just know this is not going to end well.
Not at all. I mean, I'm excited about seeing 2 boys grow up together. You saw 5, but the energy is just so relentless. I can't imagine.
Well, Praino always says, and so everybody knows, Joe will be joining us.
Yep. Live
via the dirt cam.
Because he's hot. He's so hot right now with his Instagram pics.
Yeah.
And he lets you know about it too.
Yeah. He's got confidence.
Very confident. He's feeling the flow.
Joe will be joining us from the Lou, the 314 and STL, to make our NFL picks later on the show. So hold tight, Dirtballs. Joe will be on the show. But real quick, going back to the kids, Praino always says something, and I agree about, when you have brothers, you have 2 boys now, it's a different mentality, like your life and how you grow up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you've had somebody to kind of boss you around or ball bust you.
The cool thing, I remember all the cool dudes that I knew in high school, they had older brothers that taught them all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like they taught them about, the music that was cool.
Sure.
Or if there was the fake ID to pass down.
Yeah.
Like they just sort of had a socially, just a social advantage.
I was listening to Guns N' Roses in kindergarten.
Exactly.
Kindergarten.
They played at the Palladium last week. You should have gone.
I should have. I'm a huge fan. What about you?
Axl does not look his best. I will say that right now.
I saw
Axl is not looking top notch.
I saw Guns N' Roses. What was it? Was it 3 years ago now at Dodger Stadium when they did their first?
When he broke his leg.
Yeah, but it had been healed at that point.
Healed, okay.
So that was their first big tour.
Yeah.
They were doing stadiums.
Yep.
I will say they put on an amazing show though. But yeah, when Axl came on stage, and you almost saw from a visual, you could almost see the tweets and social media, the fat jokes coming.
Yeah. and the problem is that Slash still basically looks the same.
Oh yeah,
more or less.
Black don't crack, man.
Well, Axl needs to be eating what Slash eats,
and he needs to turn half black.
Maybe, well.
Do you know this? My brother, who got me into all this stuff, my oldest brother Elliot, who's a big music guy, and he's the one who basically, I'd almost say, set the tone for me musically my whole career, not career, but life, as far as all the different genres I like. He told me that NWA, and I think this is true, NWA at their kind of height and Guns N' Roses almost did a tour together. Can you imagine that?
That would be incredible. I remember in the 90s, early 90s, there was some side of, like, there was that the hard rock and the rap really did have they did kind of align with so many things. Public Enemy was always involved in some of the hard rock world, so that would have been incredible.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen too many rap shows.
I've seen a few, regrettably.
Yeah. Well, you went to Hammer. We talked about that.
Well, Hammer was great.
Yeah.
But rap is...
I saw Outkast. They were great.
Okay.
I saw Tribe called Quest. They played for like 35 minutes and wanted to get the hell off the stage.
Okay.
I think it was in Williamsburg, Virginia. I think they wanted no part of that show.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Tribe fan.
Did they come out in like colonial hats?
No. They should have. If they were more into Williamsburg, they would have done that. But
been there, by the way. That was always the 8th grade trip for my grade school.
Huh.
You would go to Williamsburg for like a week.
The one year I spent in William & Mary, like the one cool thing about, and this is cool to some people and not to others, but like Fish was always hanging around Williamsburg because they always play at Hampton. Everyone knows that if you're a Fish head, the famous Hampton Comes Alive album, but I was friends with a lot of Fish. I've never seen Fish live, but got a lot of fans.
Are they called Fish heads?
I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Fish heads.
All the stoners I knew in high school loved Fish.
A lot of fandom out here. I just to change the subject a little bit, listen to the podcast on Monday. Great show. And for those of you who are following along on YouTube, you'll notice this, but if you're listening to me, I'm supporting our boy Twerks with my Mickey Mouse Club shirt today.
Yeah.
I want to listen, I went to Disneyland earlier this year. I do have a 3-year-old. That's the reason I went. But you know what? I cannot argue with a guy who wants to take his lady to a great day California adventure.
10 days a year.
10 days a year. Exactly.
Well, we got the pictures, some of the live action roller coaster and rides that Twerks was kind enough to send to me that I posted on Twitter and Instagram. And if you guys have not seen these, please do yourself a favor because it will put you in a good mood, put me in a good mood. And just seeing the sheer happiness.
The face of Twerks is making right now.
Yeah.
Looking at him right now, he is so happy thinking about his time at Disneyland. It's incredible. It really is the happiest place on earth for Twerks.
Can you imagine? And Aaron, I want you to hop in here. He sent me the pictures, and there was a debate, which I understand, about his girlfriend being in the pictures. Because the Dirtballs, I'll be honest, a lot of you guys are assholes. So, like I get it where there's the debate, do I want to put my significant other out there? And so I said, well, why don't I blur out her face? And then I have this thing called the Blur app. And then I said, why don't I blur? Because he was so happy, Tug. Aaron, you were so happy. Your smile was illuminating. I said, it's going to be even funnier if I blur out every single person's face but Aaron. Aaron, you made me happy seeing you happy. Is that how it always is for you? Just a bright smile?
Yeah, I didn't even send you all the pictures that I have, but all of them I honestly look pretty much the same. It's always the same look to the point where I'm kind of like disappointed. Like, man, can I look at least? Can there be some variation in these pictures? Yeah, it's pretty much how I always look.
It's your blue steel. It's like just a happy face.
The roller coaster face.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I will say this about Aaron. He has a very likable, happy demeanor. Like he's a smiling guy.
It's the opposite of resting bitch face. That's Twerks.
That's a good point, Todd. Yeah. You're the complete opposite of resting bitch face.
And this is without a White Claw in his hand.
Yeah.
Like imagine a White Claw in his hand. It's
You're always smiling. You have a just a nice demeanor about you, and it's even heightened in these pictures. Like I texted Aaron last night, and I'm being serious. I want to go to Disneyland to experience the happiness that he's experiences. Because I feel like if I'm with him, it'll rub off on me.
The difference is you're going to be on mushrooms, right? I mean, that's obvious.
I have to read this YouTube comment as I look up from Chris Vesiento. I love this. This is Aaron's slogan for now. Riding coasters and crushing claws.
That is. That is your new Twitter bio.
My new Twitter bio. Yeah, I need one. Thanks, Chris.
Unbelievable. Well, Aaron, thanks for sharing that. And the guy is just, I can't fault him. Like, Joe and I were busting his balls, but you can't fault the guy for just being happy.
Two guys as angry as you and Joe are. For someone to kind of still, beat out some happiness.
Are we angry?
I would say just an underlying rage.
I started therapy yesterday, by the way.
No way.
Yeah, I did. Let's
You're so far removed from the boy who grew up in Cincinnati.
Oh, my God. Dude, can you imagine if I told my 76-year-old dad I started going to therapy?
I think you just did.
He's just not going to listen to this. Lots of assumptions going on. I mean, come on. Unbelievable. But I do, speaking of my old man, I do want to give some love to start out the show to Marty Brennaman, the Cincinnati Reds broadcaster. This is his last game before he retires. He has been calling games, I believe, for 46 years. That's why I wore my Nasty Boys. You got your Mickey Mouse. I got my Nasty Boys T-shirt. Salute to the 1990 World Series champ Cincinnati Reds and my Reds hat. And I was actually listening before you got here, Tug, and they did this tribute on MLB, I believe their Twitter feed, to Marty. And I was getting teary-eyed yesterday listening to it, man. Because for me, I think anybody who has a long-term announcer that they know, that they grew up with, they can relate. Like, my first ever love, like a lot of kids, and I think this has changed now in America, was baseball. That was my first love, was my old man taking me down to games. And I can remember in the late 80s and, of course, the early 90s, and just you knew Marty's voice. And this wasn't when Fox Sports Ohio didn't exist, all the subsidiaries of Fox Sports, we could watch every game. You had to listen on the radio. And I found myself getting emotional because that's what I grew up with. And it's not just about baseball. It's about, that was my first love of sports, of what guys like me, you, and Praino, and anybody who loves sports. Marty and the Reds was my first connection to that. So it's kind of a sad day to see this be his last game as an announcer. And I'm sure other fans can relate, like Dodgers fans when Vince Scully did his last game. It's kind of bittersweet,
Question for you. There's still games to be played this season. Is this the last home game?
Yeah.
Last home game. I was just curious of why.
But I think it's his last game.
But I'm saying why. Well, I'm just curious of why he did it today and didn't finish out the season. Oh, that's just a question.
Yeah, I don't know if he's – because obviously I watch games now. I don't listen to the radio. So I don't know if he does road games as much.
Were you ever a guy who would watch the game on the TV but listen to the radio feed?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
I feel like that's like an 80s, 90s kid thing too, because you've had your favorite local guy, but you wanted to watch the game with him.
And that was another influence by my dad.
Yeah.
That was a Walt Ruther influence of we'll put the game on and we'll listen to the announcers. Although Walt is not the biggest fan of Marty.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's not getting emotional.
No. Walt's probably don't let the door hit you on the way out.
And what's his deal?
He thinks he's too negative.
See, no, I will say this. When you mentioned Marty Brennaman, I immediately thought of his son, Tom.
Yeah.
And the one thing I like about Tom is that he is also critical.
Yes.
He's an opinionated play-by-play guy.
Sure.
So I can see why the apple wouldn't fall far from the tree. And maybe you like that or you don't. I tend to like people giving honest reactions
I do too.
to stuff.
And Marty's gotten some trouble. And my dad is more – he doesn't like that. So and also my dad has some issue. He was complaining last time I was home about some heating and air conditioning company local in Cincinnati that Marty endorses that according to Walt are a bunch of crooks. So I was like what?
Guilty by association.
My dad's like, he does ads for them and they're a bunch of crooks. And I go, well, Dad, he's getting paid. And then it turned into a discussion. Dad, you think I've ever pushed something that I might not necessarily love, although I do love all our sponsors.
Nice.
And my dad was like, you should never do that. It's about integrity. I'm like, Dad, my dad was born in 1943. It's like I don't need to hear the speech about integrity.
Yeah.
Come on. But did you, Tug, have an announcer that you grew up with or I don't know, were, someone that really hit you as a young child?
Well,
because you had 16 different
teams.
Exactly.
Because I have a sports diaspora of fandom, I didn't get the chance to really follow a lot of the close radio people like you could now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I did grow up in Washington Redskins country, and I do remember Frank Herzog and Sonny Jurgensen, and I want to say Sammy Baugh doing all the games. And the thing I remember about Frank Herzog always doing, which I loved, he would say, the Redskins are moving left to right on your radio dial.
Oh,
that's
like a
cool little image in your head.
It's a great catchphrase.
Yeah. Or vice versa. And I always loved that. And
yeah, Marty's is this one belongs to the Reds when they win.
Oh, exactly. Like the White Sox, put it on the board. Or
yeah.
I kind of, to me, that's what's, there's such a nice fabric of sports, and those are things that I love. Like each team has a catchphrase or a thing. And I'm wondering, you think about Marty Brennaman being with the team for so long, you think of like the Vin Scullys, the Chick Hearns, the Johnny Mosts for the Celtics.
Bob Uecker for Brewers.
Do we see that with the next generation? Do we see it with these younger guys?
It's a great question.
Or are younger broadcasters more transient? Is the desire to get to the ESPNs of the world or the Foxes? I'm just curious. If we see future guys with a team for 50 years.
No, that's a great question. And I think the answer is probably no. It's almost the same equivalent to players in the leagues with free agency, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to stay. You're not going to have the Larry Birds, the Michael Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, these guys that stay with one organization. It's going to be pretty fluid.
Tom Brady's the last of his kind.
He is. Well, I do know this for a fact. Walt has issues with Marty, but I'll tell you what. Marty is going to sleep well because I've heard he's also going to be endorsing Brooklinen, who we also support here at Dirty Sports.
Wow.
The sheets that will make him sleep comfortably in his retirement years. Now, I have been known to be kind of a scrub when it comes to sheets, Tug. I've gotten cheap in the past, and I've been very fortunate because our friends here at Brooklinen, they sent me. You can see that. You can probably see it underneath my what's that thing called? A comforter? Yeah. See, I don't even know the terms.
A duvet cover.
But under the duvet cover is my charcoal Brooklinen sheets, guys. They're absolutely amazing. They were founded in 2014 by a couple. You know how you and your
I always support
lovely wife have
teams.
your own business?
Yes, I do.
Well, Vicky and Rich Fullup, they wanted a beautiful home with some beautiful sheets, so they founded Brooklinen Sheets. Yes, as in Brooklyn, because that's why it's Brooklyn, New York. Guys, my Brooklinen Sheets are the most comfortable sheets I've ever slept on. That's a fact. And their towels have turned my bathroom into a spa. Tug was just in there. It's definitely a spa. A day spa, maybe a night spa, a morning spa, you name it. I couldn't recommend them more for friends, family, or treating yourself to the upgrade you deserve. Brooklinen.com is giving an exclusive offer for all the dirtballs. Get 10% off and free shipping when you use promo code DIRTY at brooklinen.com. Brooklinen is so confident in their products that all their sheets, comforters, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. The only way to get 10% off and free shipping is to use promo code DIRTY at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Promo code DIRTY. Brooklinen, these are the best sheets ever. And between my Brooklinen sheets, my float lab, my therapy, my edibles.
Who are you?
I'm sleeping good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I mean, I think you realize when you get older, you realize you spend basically a third of your life on a bed.
It's wild.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah. It's important. As
Pamper
you know,
yourself.
as a guy who's getting
4 hours. Woo.
3 hours of sleep a night.
Give me the best. Can we transition to something I think it's
yes.
nice?
Let's do it.
Look, we're talking local announcer greats. Let's talk about arguably a national announcer great and the fire he brought on Twitter this week.
Troy Aikman.
That's right.
It's a great segue, Tuck Coker. This is not your first rodeo. I can't wait for you to have your own show on DSPN. The man is a natural.
Me either. Let's get it going.
Okay, so Troy Aikman, who I'm going to...
This fired me up, by the way.
Me too. Me too.
I know you texted me and said, I can't wait to hear.
I can't wait because I'm going to let you take the lead on this. Just go for it. Troy
Do we have the tweet? Can we dig up the tweet exactly?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's important.
Because it was a quote tweet.
Yeah. Troy, who has a very good Twitter.
He is a good Twitter. For a guy who's basically, I'm a Troy Aikman guy. I'm a number 8 guy.
Me too.
It's a little vanilla-esque on his broadcast. I wouldn't say he's appointment viewing like Romo is for me. I do enjoy him.
See, I still like.
You still like Aikman or Collinsworth or.
I love Aikman. I love Aikman.
I'm a fan of Aikman's, but I think if there's still room for someone to beat him as an announcer. He's good, but I still think there's great out there. It could be Romo. But he brings fire on Twitter. I don't know if he's out there like checking out his name. Is he how is he finding this stuff? Did someone hit his handle up?
No, he was not He was not tagged.
He wasn't tagged.
So this is
he's out there searching Troy Aikman on Twitter. This guy's ruthless.
Well, I assume I'm sure he has workers for him too. Troy has 1.6 million Twitter followers. He's got a very large following. So the Athletic from Kansas City tweeted, in case you missed it, I believe this was from a podcast. In case you missed it, Patrick Mahomes has thrown 36% of Troy Aikman's career touchdowns in about 8% of the games. Troy quote tweeted that, in case you missed it, talk to me when he has 33% of my Super Bowl titles.
That's hashtag petty, no?
What Troy did?
Yeah.
100% agree.
I mean,
I wasn't sure where you were going to go with this.
Well, I have two feelings on this. I think it's very petty. I think if anything, he should have shown a picture of his 3 rings and just left it at that. Mahomes has been in the league for, whatever. He's been a starter for a year and 3 games. Come on. Everyone knows Troy's weakness is he was a 3-time Super Bowl champ, and he was a borderline game manager. Like, he was a very good quarterback, but he wasn't asked to do much because his team was so loaded. So, is that a problem? Is that a problem? No, he got to win 3 Super Bowls, and he became he's rich for the rest of his life doing broadcast for Fox.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked it because it was entertaining, but it's like the Bakerism is kind of it's injecting himself. Baker's injecting himself into more quarterbacks than just himself.
Well, I agree with you on everything you said. And again, to reiterate, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan of Troy as a player. I'm a huge fan of him as an announcer. I think he's great. I think him and Buck do a great broadcast together. However, Troy. Just please don't be the old guy. Don't be the old head. What Patrick Mahomes is doing is something we've never seen in 100 years of this sport. They're celebrating the 100th year of the NFL, right? We've never seen this. In like you said, in 1 year and 3 games, he's achieved 36% of what you achieved your entire career. And everything you said is correct. A lot of our younger listeners weren't around for this. You and I were. We grew up watching this. The Cowboys were amazing to watch.
I love Troy Aikman. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
I love him too.
But facts are facts. And
guys, he played with, let's just name some of the guys he played with. Emmitt Smith, the all-time leading rusher. Michael Irvin, Hall of Famer.
Jay Novacek. Darryl Johnson.
Loaded defenses.
Deion
Sanders for 1 year. It's like
Leon Lett.
Larry Allen, right?
Larry Allen was offensive line.
I mean,
Stepnoski.
We're talking about a stacked. Even Alvin Harper, I believe,
Alvin Harper was good.
Made a Pro Bowl or two. Yeah. We're talking about a stacked, and I mean loaded, Cowboys team. To put things in perspective, this actually shocked me. I'm going to ask you, just see if you can get it. What do you think is the most number of touchdowns that Troy Aikman ever threw in his entire career in a season?
26.
Very good. Very close. 23.
It's even less. It's even less than what I thought. Wow.
The most he ever.
That's 1.25 a game or something.
The most Troy ever threw in a season was 23. Patrick Mahomes is going to have 23 by week 6. I mean, week 7. I'm just
and no fault against Troy, but Mahomes has to do that to win because their defense is still not there yet,
and they don't have a running game.
They don't have Emmitt Smith.
So again, we come back to this whole argument of it's a team accomplishment, right, Tug? The Super Bowl ring. Now Troy had played great, but he also, if you really want to break down his numbers, Troy had one amazing playoff run where he played amazing. This is the year he was the Super Bowl MVP. In 1992, he went 3-0 in the playoffs, threw for 795 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Amazing playoff run. That was it. Outside of that run, if you take that run away, Troy Aikman, through his other 8 playoffs, throws this is kind of crazy if you just take out that 1 year. And I know some people could say I'm cherry picking, but you're really not cherry picking if you're taking the other 8 years that he makes the playoffs. The other 8 years in the playoffs, Troy is a combined 15 touchdown passes to 17 interceptions. So he's throwing more picks than he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns if you take away one great year. Again, Troy, you were great. I agree. You talk about fitting the system and didn't throw the ball as much, but come on, man. Don't be petty.
I'm a believer that every quarterback is a system quarterback. And some systems fit quarterbacks better.
Yeah.
Mahomes may be the one person. Well, there might be like 5 quarterbacks. Rodgers could probably break that mold too. Although there's some accuracy issues with Rodgers right now, which we'll talk about when the game we predict games. But my feeling is this, and then we'll move on. It shows a little ego flare up for me about Troy. Troy should just let this slide. Everyone knows that Troy Aikman is the number 1 guy for Fox Broadcasting. Everyone knows he's a Dallas Cowboy quarterback and a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He should have actually been self-deprecating. A better move is like making a joke about it because everyone knows he's already a football god.
Yeah.
Like actually showing that this bugs you shows weakness to me.
I agree.
In a way that I'm like, Troy, you don't even need to respond to this.
Yeah.
And it blew up. It blew up on him.
Well, no, a lot of idiots are supporting it. And again, the fanboy, I can't take it anymore, the fanboy culture. You're just as bad as cancel culture. You're just as bad as some person trying to ruin somebody's life. The fanboy culture. Well, he was drafted to a 1-15 team. Yeah, I agree. And Patrick Mahomes went to a playoff team. Okay, fair enough. There is a difference. But again, he was surrounded his entire career with talent. He go back and look, guys. He did go to a 1-15 team. But then he instantly got Emmitt Smith. He instantly got Michael Irvin. He instantly got 2 Hall of Famers on his offense. It's like, just don't bring that up. And you're right. Troy, be self-deprecating. I like you too much. I think you're great.
I love him. Mahomes is throwing to Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson. I mean, what are we talking about right now?
Who? Yeah, who?
I mean, yeah, Kelsey is great. Could be a Hall of Famer someday. But, McCoy was hurt last night. Darrell Williams was playing. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, and shout out to Andy Reid. Like, I mean, obviously we all have Andy Reid issues, but he's a genius when it comes to like scheming.
He is. I always tell Praino, I don't think he gets enough credit. Praino, I think you can say what you want about his timeouts and his game management.
You can say a lot about those. You can say a lot about those.
His game management is a disaster, but I think he's underrated. Obviously, he doesn't have a Super Bowl. But when you look at all-time offensive minds, I'm just going to say it. You have to put Andy Reid up there.
Well, Bill Walsh is sort of the 1A.
The apex.
But isn't Reid under the Bill Walsh tree? I believe he is.
He is.
Yeah. So it all starts with the West Coast system. But you know what? But we're talking about heated quarterbacks. And we got to go to probably the most – I don't want to say – listen, I'm an Oklahoma fan in my diaspora of teams. My parents went to OU.
Where is Oklahoma on the Tug Coker college sphere?
Number 2 behind – well, 2A, Michigan, Virginia, Oklahoma. But Baker is not. I came into this pro season excited for Baker. I loved him on Hard Knocks. I thought I saw some humility with Baker on the Hard Knocks season. He's not showing that to me right now.
Yeah. Well,
his little feud with Rex. There's just some feuds going on right now. Everyone's just got a little bit of. Everyone's got some low blood sugar. Everyone needs to eat a Snickers.
Well, just grow up, man. Show some maturity.
So there's a little context on this. Andy, fill everyone in about what
here's what happened. Rex Ryan was on, I believe, ESPN's, is it First Up? First Take?
Yeah.
Wake Up?
Get up.
Get up?
Get up.
We're talking sports?
Get up.
Get up
and have a first take.
Pardon the interruption. So Rex was on Get Up, which is hosted by Mike Greenberg.
Correct.
And I believe former guest of the show, Pat McAfee, who's now on there regularly.
Legend
was on as well. Pat's reaction was very funny to this, if you saw it.
I hadn't seen it.
So people zeroed in. Pat just kept going. Because he was shocked at what Rex was saying. Rex called Baker Mayfield overrated. I believe multiple times. Well, here's my take on that.
Well, and finish. And what did Baker say?
And then Baker was asked about it yesterday in a press conference. And his response was that what Freddie Kitchens said, and first of all, I love this, which I thought I had a good dig on Dirty Sports. He said, in the wise words of Freddie Kitchens, which I'm like, what? Run it on 4th and 9 on a draw play? He said, in the wise words of Freddie Kitchens. What was it? Do you know the quote?
Twerk's want to pop that one up.
I should probably have had that ready. Well, here, I got it right here, actually, Aaron. So he said, in the wise words of Freddie Kitchens, if you don't wear orange and brown, you don't matter. And Rex doesn't have any colors now for a reason. Ooh, shots fired.
Got him.
So he's taking a dig at Rex Ryan being unemployed. My take is this, Tug. It's the same shit from you, Baker. It's the same shit I've been critical on last year. Same shit I'm going to be critical on this year. Dude, why do you care about what a talking head thinks? You would never see that from Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. Like, I'll just start naming all the quarterbacks I like. Matthew Stafford, you name it. You know what? To bring it back to the Patriot way, you know what Tom Brady would say? He'd either say no comment or we're preparing for the Bills this week. Did you see what I'm saying? Like, learn something from your elders who figured it out. I get you were asked the question. You don't have to answer it. You're responding to a talking head.
The media knows that they're going to goad you or to saying something. Like,
yeah.
The media knows that you're going to take the bait. Like, they've discovered that you are low-hanging fruit. They're gonna throw some chum at you, and you're gonna bite every time. And they're gonna keep doing that, and it's gonna drive us crazy. I mean, it really is funny. They know, oh, Baker's the one guy we'll get. We'll just mention someone, and he'll have a comment.
Yeah,
it happens every time.
Or, kind of to what you were saying about Troy Aikman, make a joke.
Let's make a joke.
Make a foot fetish joke about Rex Ryan. Why are you taking it so personally? Again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, Tug, on this show. You were drafted number 1 overall. Stop acting like it's me against the world. Dude, you were taking the highest possible position.
Yeah.
I just, dude, at the end of the day, you're not overrated. I'm not going to agree with Rex Ryan at all. Because you're only in, 16 starts in? He started, he started 13 games last year?
So just finished a full season.
Yeah. So I'm not going to call you overrated. I'm not going to call you underrated. To me, the verdict is still to be determined on Baker Mayfield.
And the other thing is, and we don't talk about this enough, but Rex did his job. He's a talking head for ESPN.
Yeah.
And what his job was is to create noise for ESPN, and he did that.
Yeah.
So Baker took the bait and made actually Rex even more relevant than Rex should be at this moment in time because he's on Get Up, First Take on Pardon the Interruption. Like, just just have some discipline, and don't worry about it. Like, next question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next question. No comment. Like, dude, the end of the day, your team's 1-2. You've thrown 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. You're getting murdered back there.
Hasn't been a top 15 fantasy quarterback yet this year. Drafted in the top 5 for all you fantasy heads out there. I know Andy's one of them. Just kidding.
I did see an interesting stat about Baker. I forget the numbers, but I believe in his 16 starts, he's beaten 1 team with a winning record.
That is out there, yep.
So it's like, dude, you can go beat up on the Cincinnati Bengals, but at the end of the day, you're just like, it's just like my criticism of Jared Goff on the road. You can't play well on the road. Baker, you can't play well when you play against teams that actually have good players. And I think he can turn it around. Like I said, I'm not going to call him overrated. I'm not going to call him underrated. But this next 4-game stretch will determine their season. Do you agree?
Oh, definitely, because they're 1-2. You're what? You need to come out of this 500.
I agree.
Pretty tough schedule.
If they come out 500, they'll be fine. If they go 2-2 in these next 4 games, they'll be fine.
But all eyes are on Cleveland for this year. They got 5 or 6 primetime games. So much hype. I thought under 9 was a good bet. We'll still see if that holds true. But this is also a team that I think I've said this and you said this too. If it gets away from them, it's going to get away from them real quick.
Oh, yeah.
This team, I feel like, is not afraid to destroy each other from the inside.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Kind of want to see it happen. I just, as someone from Ohio, and there's this stupid, ridiculous Cleveland-Cincinnati beef, which really isn't a beef because, let's be honest, the 2 franchises have a combined 1 playoff win since 1991. So let's just, it's like the beef. It's like the beef of shit versus diarrhea. Like
Oh my God. You are a poet laureate.
Like
unbelievable.
It's like you took a normal bowel movement and then you had diarrhea. Like, that's the beef between Cincinnati and Cleveland. You guys are both fucking hot garbage.
When you do the when one day when Dirty Sports calls it a day, and they do the Hall of Fame clips, I want that analogy to be on there.
Just the regular poop versus diarrhea.
Yes.
But that's the reality of it.
It really is. It's funny.
The 2 franchises, again, as somebody from Ohio, like, they have this weird beef. But in a way, though, I still maintain some of that as a native from Ohio. And I really enjoy kind of watching the wheels fall off, just as much as I enjoy watching the wheels fall off from the Bengals at this point. But what is your projection, real quick, Tug, and then we'll move on. Like, where do you think Baker goes for his career? Like, how do you think this plays out? How do you think the Browns play out? What are your guesses at this point?
I think he's a good player. Again, it's a system league.
Yeah.
And right now they're not putting him in situations to win. The offensive line is not great. They traded away an offensive lineman who was a top-tier offensive lineman to New York. The Giants are now have the top running offensive line in the league. So there's some mistakes being made with that franchise. I think they right the ship. I think he gets it going. Why? Because I think he has a number 1 skill, which is accuracy. Can't coach that. He's got Odell. They're gonna get some. Odell and him has never really played. This is only the 3rd game they've ever played together.
Yeah.
They're gonna fill that out. And Njoku broke his, security blanket breaks his wrist. He's out for several weeks. So they're figuring out some pieces. I think they're gonna right the ship. Do I think it's gonna be this year? I don't think so. Am I worried about Kitchens? Yeah, because you know why? You said it in the last episode. Too many penalties. That tells me no discipline.
Yeah.
It tells me there's no leader right now. I like Kitchens. I like his story. Great story. Like, had his life saved. Because he was dying at one point, and he got saved in the hospital in like an emergency room run.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So apparently he has like the best outlook on life, but we got to have some disciplinarians on there. And when you have guys like Odell, and listen, this is all perception. I don't know any of them, but you have guys like Baker and Odell probably running the roost. We got to have guys. Remember when Baker told Duke Johnson like he was causing a problem, asking for a trade or whatever. He was like bad mouthing his own player and
like get off the team basically.
Training camp. Like there just needs to be some guy holding everyone accountable. I don't think we found that player, the veteran presence yet. Maybe.
Well, as a guy who grew up watching a young, talented Bengals team, watch out because that's the same thing that happened. Marvin Lewis had no discipline over those players, and you see what happens. You don't win when it comes to playoff time. Do they make the playoffs this year?
No.
So you agree with what I've said all along?
I don't think so. Well, I will say this: the bottom half of the AFC is so wide open that they may sneak in there. But I think the Ravens are. I like the Ravens from day one.
Yeah,
I'm a Lamar guy. Chiefs, Patriots, Ravens. The back three, I'm not sure. Bills got a chance. Bills are 3-0. Have 2 Dolphins games ahead of them.
The Bills don't have a chance
to get to the playoffs.
No.
I don't know about that.
I'm just not buying it. Although maybe I stand corrected on that. They do have a good defense, and defenses can get you to the playoffs. Although I did see a fun stat. The last time the Bills started 3-0, they went 6-10.
It's possible. They got a home game against the Patriots, and we'll get into that game with Joe.
Yeah.
But they've got, like I said, the perennial powers are not great. Denver's not very good. Steelers aren't good.
True.
Chargers are sort of are they good? Are they not good? They're 1-2.
Yeah.
They should be good.
Who's going
to take the 4, 5, and 6 spot in the AFC?
It's a good point. The AFC is a lot weaker than the NFC.
Yeah. So I think the Bills do have a shot to get the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
And plus they got 2 games with the Dolphins. They got another game with the Jets. They should win those games.
Yeah.
To get to 6 wins, and they just got to win 3 of the rest of their schedule. Give me the Bills to make the playoffs.
You heard it here first.
Right.
Dirty Sports exclusive. Tug Coker predicts. Okay, we got a few more NFL stories, then we'll talk a little college, and then we'll get Joe on the phone for our weekly picks. I want to bring up this Calvin Johnson story, which Joe and I didn't have time to get to last episode. Sports Illustrated did an excellent piece, which I read, on Calvin Johnson. And basically in the piece, the big headline that was taken from it is that he confessed to smoking weed after every game.
Smoke weed every game. Hold up. Hey.
Oh, you really are a chameleon, Tug.
Thank you.
You feel that Joe Praino role great?
Just a utility guy, Whatever you need.
What utility are you, Lenny Harris?
I'm Lenny Harris.
I think he's the pinch hit king.
I was Chuck Knobloch before I could forget how to throw to first base.
Good reference.
Thank you.
So Calvin Johnson said he used to get high all the time because he didn't like, using all the awful pharmaceuticals, which I agree with. The Vicodin and all the drugs that mess you up. And here we are with news that's not really news, that these guys all smoke weed. It's so much healthier, yet they're all supplied with pharmaceuticals. This really has to be a sticking point for the next NFL players agreement, which comes up soon, when the drug testing. Do you agree?
I agree, and not only that, you think about Tyler Skaggs, who, his autopsy came back that he had some, pharmaceutical.
He had the same drug that Michael Jackson died of.
Problems in his system.
What's it
called?
called?
He's a Santa Monica boy, and now the family is looking into these people that supply these drugs. It's a real issue.
The opioid crisis in our country is so real, and nobody addresses it. And that's what's wild is it's a problem with athletes. It's a problem with just normal everyday folk. Like, this is an issue. Marijuana is so much healthier for your body. It's just a fact. And the fact that he had to do that also shows the pain and just, like I said, these guys are gladiators. What they put their bodies through. Let's just take care of these guys when they leave the NFL. And the fact that the Detroit Lions wanted their money back where then you saw the Colts
I saw he was in shock about that. The Colts
did the exact
honoring
opposite
Andrew Luck.
with Andrew Luck. It's just not a good look for the Detroit Lions franchise, which probably could use a good look at this point.
That's why he said a lot of reasons why he was smoking, because he was trying to forget that he was playing for the Lions.
Yeah.
That's not true, but
it is true.
It is definitely true.
I saw the tweets that say that, and it's definitely true. But obviously,
Irsay, by the way, is on the opioids. His honor. Just giving away money.
You got to appreciate Jim Irsay for the Colts because, he is also – he's not just pumping them into his players. He's saying, I will also do them with you. I will basically be your lead.
Total team player.
Team player all the way.
Can I just – quick aside. Are owners of the NFL the weirdest people on the planet? You think about like Bob Kraft, Irsay, Jerry Jones,
Mark
Davis. Like, you put those guys in a room. Like, I like to have some fun and party. These guys were probably too weird for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are just have some stuff going on that I don't know if I could.
Well, real quick, the guys you just named. So Jerry Jones was busted a couple years ago with all those girls all over him.
Right.
With whatever. Like, you're just being a creepy old dude. That's not too bad. Robert Kraft, getting those happy endings from, you're a billionaire. You're going into a massage parlor in a shopping center in Florida. That's pretty weird and creepy. Jim Irsay hopped up on God knows what.
Yep.
Pills, booze. Mark Davis pays $12 for a haircut at Great Clips. Again, dude, you're worth a lot of money. Mike Brown for the Bengals, another guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The rumor is he still wears old tattered suits, and they say if you go to his house in Indian Hill, which is like the richest area in Cincinnati, if you go to his house, it looks like it's been unkept for 20 years. All these interesting cats, you just throw them in together.
I want to see an animated TV show of the NFL owners and see. I don't know. I just think that'd be. These guys are just very, very weird characters.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
Imagine when they're making these owners' decisions, like for relocation or rules.
Oh, man.
Right?
Behind closed doors, none of these guys are opposed to Calvin Johnson smoking weed.
Yeah.
Because they're all doing it.
None of them.
Except Virginia McCaskey, who's the owner of the Bears, who's like, if that's her name, correct me if I'm wrong. She's like 100.
Oh, yeah. No, she's probably the party starter,
She's
man.
probably the medicinal supplier.
She smokes crack. Yeah, I would love to have an inside scoop into what goes on
in the winter meetings.
Oh my God,
the debauchery of the winter meetings.
You know how they always talk about the Bilderbergs?
Yeah,
it's basically like the sports version of the Bilderbergs when the NFL owners meet. It's like an Illuminati thing. Do you think Robert Kraft is bringing the girls?
I mean, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. Jerry's like, less Asians this year, man. Come on. I like blondes and brunettes. Come on, man. But they got to change this.
Jerry.
They really do. They got to change the rules on that being an offense. Obviously, we've already seen the country is completely moving towards legalization statewide and then also federally. So it's just a sad story, though. If you read, I highly suggest everybody go read the Calvin Johnson Sports Illustrated story because you have a guy who gave it all and who was the best player for years at his position. I mean, to me, he didn't play that long. To me, he's a Hall of Famer hands down.
Is his lasting legacy, however, the NFL being unable to determine what a catch is?
Because of that play.
He started that.
He did. Was that against the Bears, I believe,
it was.
in Chicago?
It was.
2008.
Yeah. I don't know what year it was.
Yeah, it was 2008.
But ever since that non-catch, we've been gone down this friggin' hellhole rabbit hole.
I don't think so. I think his legacy is that he broke Jerry Rice's single-season receiving yards record.
That's a good nugget.
I mean,
smoke weed every game.
By the way, I got to hop into YouTube. Praino left a comment. Tug wrote that smoke weed everyday joke 2 days ago and has been sitting on it.
100% not true. 100%. That to me is a comic respecting that joke.
Yeah.
Because I made that up.
You made it up right before the show.
I did right before the show. I put that on.
Right before the show. That was a Tug improvisation.
That's right. The Tug Nug.
A Tug Nug, which once again, a great strand of marijuana.
Very good.
Dude, I just got beat up yesterday by the Dallas Cowboys. Yo, man, your body ache? Smoke some of this Tug Nug, man. Make you feel better.
It's a 50-50 sativa indica blend.
Praino's chomping at the bit, I see.
Let's do it, Praino. Let's get him on. We'll talk about the rest of these things on here.
You want to talk about the rest of these things on here?
We'll talk about Gordon when we get to the Chargers. That should be interesting.
He said he wanted a 15-minute heads up.
You let me know.
Oh, he's ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's get No Chill here on the phone. Let's throw on.
He's obviously sans chill right now, so let's get him on.
Oh, man. I hope he gets to go to a game, by the way.
I heard he's going to use SeatGeek.
He's trying to do – yeah, that's a good point. Before we get Joe on the phone, I want to talk about the Harry's razors that Joe uses to keep his mustache looking so fresh, Tug Coker. Guys, Harry's Razors, the official razor sponsor of the Dirty Sports Podcast. It has been for the last 4.5 years. They've been a partner with us. Join the 10 million people who've tried Harry's, and I believe that we have helped contribute to that 10 million. Maybe at least 2 million of our listeners.
No doubt.
Have probably contributed to that Harry's. You can claim your special trial offer by going to harrys.com/dirty, guys. I love my Harry's razors. I just shaved Monday. I'm going to have to shave again this week. I love that fifth blade to get around the nose hairs, get around the lips, guys. Listeners of Dirty Sports can redeem their Harry's trial set once again at harrys.com/dirty. You'll get that amazing weighted ergonomic handle for a firm grip, a 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. So once again, dirtballs, go to harrys.com/dirty to start shaving better today. Okay, we are going to let this rip live, so let's see what we got going on here. Let's see if I can do this correctly, Tug, because it's always not easy to, for some reason, every time I try to do, of course, now I'm getting it. Every time I try to do the FaceTime audio, it never shows up. Okay, first of all, let's go into contacts. This is all a great play-by-play, right?
Let me just
me trying to use my phone.
While you're doing this, I'm going to talk to you. You asked me off air if I'm in quick college football shit.
Yes, great.
Am I in or out on Harbaugh after the disgusting display of football that we saw this past weekend? I thought Michigan had a real shot. They were favored for over the summer. The game flipped to Wisconsin -3.5, and rightly so. Got absolutely destroyed. Now, I told you in a previous, or maybe Joe in a previous podcast, I have concerns with Harbaugh. He doesn't have an elite quarterback. He doesn't have Greg Roman masterminding the offenses. Greg Roman's doing that for Lamar now. But it is only one game. He can change the way the season goes by beating Ohio State. That's the only game that matters.
Only game that matters.
There's all this conversation, is Urban Meyer going to take the Michigan job? That doesn't seem like anyone wants to go down that path, Urban or Michigan.
No, you know where he's going. We all know where he's going.
USC.
I know for a fact, my inside sources.
Ooh, sources say.
This is a fact. That people that I know who work for Fox Sports, he bought a house out here. He's here 3 days a week.
Well, Fox is out here.
I know Fox is located out here, and that's where they do the broadcast. I'm just saying.
But that is the hot rumor. Everyone's talking about it out here.
Did you see the USC Utah game last week?
I saw.
Did you hear what happened?
Yes.
The fans, because they were doing a live broadcast at the stadium, the fans were chanting, while USC is beating a top 10 team, we won Urban. But back to Harbaugh.
Well, let me just finish up with Harbaugh. I'm disgusted with the offense. I'm not seeing innovation. That's my biggest problem. Whereas my Dallas Cowboys are showing innovation with Kellen Moore, I'm not seeing it with Harbaugh. Defense isn't what it was the past couple of years, but we are favored in most of these games. Got to beat Michigan State, obviously. Got to beat Ohio State.
No way.
You don't think so?
No way.
So I'm staying the course, but I think if it doesn't happen, I think there is a real chance that he's gone this year. So, and then we'll have Juwan Howard for his first year in basketball and some new coach to start the year. So, the identity of Michigan sports is really, really in trouble.
I think, and then we'll wrap this up and get to Praino. I think the big problem again is how much he's getting paid. To me, it's about return on investment. You're the second highest paid coach in college football. You just can't be having these games because they're paying you so much. And again, you're talking about, I was a diehard Harbaugh guy. I loved what he did with the 49ers. I loved what he did with Stanford. I loved when he made the, at the time, controversial move to bench Alex Smith and keep Colin Kaepernick. I loved all that. Led them to a play away from winning a Super Bowl. I loved all that. It's just, you're right. Innovation, it hasn't panned out for the Michigan offense.
Just not seeing innovation. That's a real issue.
Well, speaking of innovation, let's hear the innovation and the insight of our dear friend Joe Praino.
I know he's going to bring something so good. I can't wait for his picks.
Let's hear what he's got.
There's an outside chance I go to Vegas this weekend. I need to know his picks.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. Let me turn you up a little here.
Hello, Joe.
Chugless.
You thought my joke was canned?
No, I just thought it was great, so I figured you wrote it, and we're sitting on it.
I'm sitting on 4 hours of sleep, Joe, and that's what comes out.
Well, I'm just out here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm chiefing on this Nug Coker.
We call that a callback in the comedy world, people.
Let me tell you something, Joe. I know how hot you are with your picks. I was just saying there's a chance I go to Vegas this weekend, so I can't wait for the gold. I know how hot you are.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing is I hate that we always do this yearly bet on like the pick'em lines for the year, because I've always said I don't have a feel for just terrible football games. With on most Sundays 8 games are terrible, but like next year I'm getting in the super contest because I'll give you 3 to 5 sure thing.
I will tell you what, they're doing a week 9 rebuy-in for the super contest. I think it's like I want to say 500 or less. We should go in on that.
I'm down for sure.
I'll keep tabs on that week 9 rebuy-in. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to monitor every week.
You all right, Praino? You're moving around a lot.
I'm not moving around at all.
I thought it was me.
Oh,
that's not me though.
I feel like
I'm actually hearing something via you guys, some sort of crinkling and whatever too. So I don't know. Maybe it's connection. I am not moving.
All good. All good. I got to ask before we get into the picks, as someone who lived in St. Louis for 5 years, initial thoughts?
I'm having a great time so far. I've eaten barbecue already. I went to a place called Sugar Fire Barbecue. That was, I guess it's a newer place, but it was delicious. Got some jalapeno cheddar sausage and some brisket. That was fantastic. And it's just nice to be out here in the heartland.
Quality of life is impeccable out there, isn't it?
Oh, you know it. Quality of life. I'm outside, sitting outside right now. I can hear the birds chirping and the crickets cricketing.
Now you have to do me a favor though, man. You really have to go to. I know you're not going to like it. As far as like, it wouldn't be your ideal choice. You have to go to Courtesy Diner, man, and get a slinger.
Well, apparently the Courtesy Diner that you suggested was like the only one in town when you lived here, but now they're everywhere. There's one like literally a mile from where I am right now. So.
Okay, well that's good. But a fun fact about the Courtesy Diner that there was a couple when I lived there. Fun fact about the one when I lived there that you're gonna love this. I love my Andy Ruther unknown rap deep dives. Chingy's first video was filmed at that Courtesy Diner.
Oh man,
incredible!
That was for his hit song, Slingers. Well, I Chingy. All right.
I believe
know me. You know my Midwest rap.
Yes. Well,
not strong. Hey, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over. Let me know if this is a little bit better. Is this significantly better?
I like the previous version better.
Yeah, I like the previous version better, too.
Oh, okay, great. That's better because that was the headset, so then I could also monitor the lines on my phone.
So the previous version was better.
This is podcasting gold.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. We're back on headset.
I love it.
Oh, wait, you like the previous better, Tug?
Whatever. This is your show. Just do whatever. I'm just.
It doesn't matter.
Why am I stepping in?
This is better for me because then I can look at the lines as we. I like to have a visual component.
Good to me. It's great. Aaron, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just had a question for Praino. Joe, since you've been in the Midwest, have you had to cancel anybody in your time there?
Guys, everybody's getting canceled out here.
Everybody.
This whole yeah. I mean, as far as cancel culture goes, they should literally. It shouldn't even be the flyover states. It should just be the red X states. I was here for like 10 minutes before somebody mentioned, that the guy, the police officer who shot the kid in Ferguson, acquitted.
Cancel.
They're like, he was acquitted.
All right. Well, we are going to have to get through this.
I want to be the canceller, by the way. I was a great bit from Monday. I think I am the canceller of the dirty sports world.
You're the canceller?
I might be. I run around. You know that Family Feud X's? That's what I see in my head.
Yeah.
Are
you going to – what kind of outfit are you going to wear, though?
I don't know. A bunch of red.
It
looks very similar to your Cincinnati Reds outfit today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just going to say canceller.
I got you. Okay.
Cancel
Reds. And now, do you guys remember Press Your Luck?
Of course. No whammies.
Now, literally anytime I'm doing stand-up now in my head, all I'm thinking is no cancels, no cancels, no cancels, no cancels, and hit.
Yeah, I real quick, and then we have to do the picks. I purposely – so on Monday, I did a show at a gay bar in West Hollywood. I was the only straight comic. It was all gay men and females, and I couldn't resist. I purposely did – my jokes about my brother Brad being homophobic. Dude, you could hear a pin drop when I did those jokes. Like, I was doing fine, and then I did jokes about him being homophobic, and then I literally said that. I was like, well, I've officially been canceled because the crowd just looked at me like there's no comedy in this, There's no comedy in your brother being an asshole.
That's your base, and you don't want to lose your base.
My base is gay men?
I mean, I thought for years.
Okay. Good point, Tug.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Don't lose your base.
On to the picks. Joe, we're neck and neck after 3 weeks. I have 20 correct picks. You have 19. Neither of us are doing well. That's out of 48 picks. So we're both below 500. So we need to step our game up. Tug, who did 1 week, I believe, did you have 8 or 9?
500.
Okay.
But I was a strict fade Andy Ruther. So
okay.
I made a 500.
Okay, so here we are, fellas. The infamous L chain bet is in the works. Starting tonight, the Eagles travel to Green Bay, where the Packers are 4-point favorites in Lambeau. Joe, I'll let you start.
Well, I'll start by saying that I like the Eagles to cover in this game. I just think it's going to be a close game. I could see it being low scoring, as Thursday nights tend to be. Sloppy Thursday night, short week football. But also, both of these teams are this is sort of a statement game for both teams. Either the Packers start 4-0 and, beat a team that a lot of people, Nug Coker included, had going to the Super Bowl with their new coach, or the Eagles, potentially falling to 1-3. So I think there's a lot on the line for both teams, but I think there's more on the line for the Eagles. I hate to go full woke football fan, but if the Eagles start 1-3, consider them canceled. So I'm saying the Eagles play at least a close game, and I think they cover.
I agree. Listen, I as Joe alluded to, I said that the Eagles will be the Super Bowl champions this year. I'm already off that train. Hated that prediction of mine in week 3. I've forgotten that Frank Reich is no longer a part of the team, and he really is the offensive genius of that Super Bowl run. Peterson is calling plays in a way that I don't quite understand. They do have some secondary issues, but having said that, Doug Peterson has won the last 4 Thursday night games in which he's coached. Eagles have won the last 4. 3 of them have been as underdogs. I'm going to ride that train. Eagles +4 tonight in a desperation game as Aaron Rodgers still tries to figure out the Matt LaFleur offense.
That's a nice tug-nug reference on the Thursday night game for Peterson. I agree with both you guys. I think Eagles
we're done.
Are going to keep this close.
This pick is canceled.
Yeah.
I think Philly, they know where they're at, right, guys? Like Joe said, they got to keep it close. You don't want to start 1-3. And I have not been impressed, like both of you guys, with them so far. But it's Thursday night. They're going to keep it close. The only way this turns into a blowout is if Carson Wentz gets hurt. And to be honest, I think this is not a bad bet for, picking Philly to upset them.
Well, look, we'll move on as a rapid fire. But the Packers' offense does not look good. They're a bottom third-tier offense right now, even though they are 3-0. Do I want to use one of my favorite phrases? Paper tiger? Are the Packers a paper tiger right now? I want to say yes. They might win tonight, but I'm not scared of the Packers at this point.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to say before you move on that I disagree with you, Tug. I disagree. I do agree with you that they are paper tigers so far, but the one thing that I'll say about this Packers team that has me excited because I have them as my NFC Super Bowl team is that they are not playing incredibly well on the offensive side, but they are still winning football games, which is pretty much the exact opposite of the Mike McCarthy era, where it's like, oh, they'd have these outbursts, but they'd still find a way to lose football games. I think being 3-0, potentially 4-0 if they can win tonight, while they figure it out, I think that makes for a dangerous team in the second half. I think Aaron Rodgers to steal one from Baker Mayfield, feeling dangerous.
That's a great point. That's a really good point, and I'll continue to monitor that. And I think they have their defense has improved so much that it is worth giving them that opportunity. Aaron Rodgers does not look healthy to me. There's some accuracy issues that I'm seeing on some film that I'm watching when I'm breaking that down when my kids go to bed, and but Jair Alexander is awesome. This is a great defense right now. Mike Pettin understands the golden rule of football right now in defense, which is let them run, don't let them throw. So I'll listen to you, Joe. I'm always listening. I listen hard when Joe tells me something. So
I just think that they always say it takes a half of a season for a new offense to get sorted out, and I could see the Packers to really coming on strong in the second half. And if they have a 6-2 record going into that second half, watch out.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how it plays out. But you are right. That's a very good point.
This is assuming Aaron Rodgers completes a full season, which he hasn't done in the last
this is true.
3 years.
Yeah. All right, moving on, fellas. The Patriots travel to Buffalo, where the Bills are 7-point dogs at home. Both teams are 3-0. Bills winning on defense. Patriots just winning on both sides of the ball. I'm going to say Patriots win. Patriots cover. I don't care how many dildos are thrown at Tom Brady from Bills Mafia. Until the Patriots don't cover, I'm going to continue to pick them to cover.
You guys know the last time the New England Patriots gave up a touchdown?
It wasn't in the Super Bowl. It was in the AFC Championship.
That's correct. So they've played 4 hours and 21 minutes of game time since they've given up a touchdown.
That is a tug-nug right there.
Tug-nug. They're on fire. Defensively, they're not playing the best teams. I don't put the Bills in that category, but their defense is elite right now. And I also think the Bills' defense, if not quite elite, could be there. Very good. My fantasy nug is that the Buffalo Bills gave up the fewest points to opposing quarterbacks last season. So I think the line is big, personally. Shout out to my boy, a dirtball, Matt Cummings, DMing me some of his picks. He loves teasing the Patriots down to 1.5, and over 37.5. And I told him I'm scared of that total. I think we might see a 16-10 game, a 20-14 game. I think the Bills will cover this game. I think they're a playoff team. Joe, you might not have heard this. I think the Bills are a playoff team. I don't know if this is a win, but I think they hold tight and get that cover.
That's me just choking on all that Nug Coker.
Whoa.
Just a bong hit of Nug Coker I just took in. I did hear that you have the Bills as a playoff team. I agree with you at this point because as I look at the AFC, I can't think of
who else is it going to be.
I can't think of 5 other teams that get in before the Bills. So I agree with you there. I think the Bills defense is good. I think I agree with you as well. This will be a low scoring game. I would stay away from that over for sure. I think it'll be a game most of the game. I think this will be a fun football game to watch. I think anybody who is a Patriots hater, which means that you don't approve of, cheating at the sport of football, keeping small Asian women as sex slaves, murdering people, just a couple of those things, that you'll be happy to be rooting against this Patriots team and feel like you have a shot. That being said, I think as close as it'll be, Tom Brady puts a dagger touchdown in them toward the end of the game. And, it becomes a 2-score game late and the Patriots cover.
Ooh, 2 for the Patriots, tug for the Bills. Okay, moving on. The Titans travel to the Falcons. Talk about a must-win game for the Falcons. Falcons are 4-point favorites at home. Your boy Mariota, Joe, has had about 10 days to rest. The Falcons are winless, correct?
They beat the Eagles.
Okay, that's right. They beat the Eagles. So I guess it's not as big of a must-win. So
both teams are 1-2.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big game, I guess. The Falcons are really good at home. They put up a lot of points. The Titans, obviously, strength is their defense. Ooh, this is a tough one here. I am going to go with the Titans to cover the spread. I don't like that pick at all, but I'm going to go with it.
You know what? I was trying to figure out a way, as you were talking, a way to justify a Titans pick because they just haven't looked good.
Yeah.
Ever since Baker threw them the ball and they ran it back twice in week 1. I was going to lean Titans until you picked them. So now I'm going to go with Matt Ryan riding the ship, carrying the momentum from the second half last week, getting a 7-point win. Falcons cover.
The Falcons have burned me going back to the Tiva days, as I will say every week when I go to make the pick of the Falcons. But I just think the Falcons are so talented that it kind of upsets me at their lack of overall success. Obviously, they had the Super Bowl run, which they blew. But from now on, I think my rule is I'm not going to let the Falcons burn me. I keep saying Titans, so maybe God's trying to tell me to just pick the Titans. But I'm not going to let the Falcons burn me on the road anymore. But I'll let them burn me at home. Because they're at home, I'm going to take the Falcons to cover. And somebody remind me next week after they look really good and I go to pick them again that they're on the road and don't do it.
All right, moving on. The Browns, who we obviously just talked about earlier in the show, traveled to Baltimore for this great AFC North battle. The Ravens are a big favorite for a division game. 6.5 against the Browns. I think this spread is too big. I think the Ravens win. But I also think, I don't know. The Ravens, obviously, their strength always is just in a tough defense. What have the Browns had trouble doing? Protecting Baker Mayfield. And I think it's going to be just as big as a problem as it was last week against the Rams. I think the Ravens win. I want to say the Browns keep it close, though. Again, this is another pick I don't have that much confidence in. But
you want to say or you're saying it?
I'm going to say, I want to say. That's what I'm saying. I think the Browns are going to keep this close. 6.5 is just a big spread. Cleveland.
Can we put that on Andy Ruther's gravestone? I want to say, I'm just saying.
So I'm going with the Browns to cover, Ravens to win. Praino, what do you think of this game?
These are two teams I just don't know what to make of yet. I think everybody agrees. I know, Ruther, you've been on the Browns are going to stink. They're not making the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. They've looked worse than I thought they would, and I actually thought they would still come out and struggle a little bit I'm basing everything about my thoughts on the Browns right now on the final drive against the Rams. The fact that game ended with Baker Mayfield taking a snap, turning and running backwards like he was playing Tecmo Bowl, and then rolling to his right and just throwing a duck toward the end zone. That did get picked off. People forget.
Yeah.
A pickoff to end the game. It's really disappointing. I also think that everybody's on this Chiefs, Pats, Ravens. It's like, well, these are the three teams in the AFC. Like, Lamar Jackson playing 500 last week against the Chiefs just to make it a push. Like, I don't have a ton of confidence in this Ravens team against, good teams. I guess the question is just, are the Browns good or not? I think the Browns defense will give Lamar some trouble. I'm like on the fence, and you taking the Browns makes me want to go Ravens. So that's what I'm going to do.
The exact same reasoning I'm going to go with the Ravens. Lamar actually had a coming out party against the Browns last year, Week 17.
Hey,
Absolutely. Hey,
canceled.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the canceller. Didn't like that. No. Ravens. Lamar was awesome in Week 17 against the Browns, and I think Lamar is legit. I think I'm trying to figure out why the money would be on the Browns. They look so bad. Maybe that's a reason to take them. They look bad on Sunday Night Football. But I still think America is still in love with the Browns, and for that reason, I'm going to go with the Ravens. And the Ravens are good at. It's a home game, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a home game for the Ravens.
But Doug, you don't think that's a big spread for an in-division game?
It is. It just feels a little bit large. I was trying to track down while you were talking the look-ahead line. I couldn't find it. I was wondering if that line was like 4 or 5.5. It does feel a little bit big.
But does it feel dangerous?
It does feel dangerous. It's a game maybe I would tease down with something, 6.5 down to half point, and take the Ravens to win that game.
All right, so you guys go against me once again. Next up, we have the Lions at home against the Chiefs, another 6.5-point favorite. The Chiefs are 6.5 faves on the road. I'm going Kansas City. I like the way Detroit's playing. They big win last week in Philly. I like Detroit's defense. They're 2-0-1. However, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, that offense, they're too good. I think this is a game that the Chiefs win by 10 or more.
I'm going to go Lions here. I like I think they're 2-0-1. The tie to Arizona, is that going to come back to haunt the Lions? I mean, that's a game they had in hand. Will that end up biting them? We'll find out. But I think this is a game. You guys remember last year when Sunday Night Football, Patriots came into Detroit and laid an absolute egg. Lions really showed out, won that game. I expect a similar fashion here. This is I don't think it matters, but it's Mahomes' first game in a dome as a professional. That should probably speed him up, maybe. I don't know.
Tug nug.
Yeah. But Matt Stafford's played solid. I think the Lions come to play, and to me that's a line that the Lions can cover. So I'm going with Detroit.
The tie that the Lions suffered in Week 1, they gave up the lead when backdoor Murray came in and stole that lead from them late in the game. But original.
By the way, great gay porn name, Backdoor Murray.
But the original backdoor black belt, Matt Stafford, this guy loves to throw for meaningless yards at the end of the game, get a late touchdown on some wild broken tackle. I see this being a very similar game to Chiefs Ravens last week. The Chiefs have a hold of it the whole game, and then their defense, which isn't good in the dome, Let's Stafford throw for some yards late. I'm going backdoor Stafford and the Lions.
Okay, so what? Real quick before we move on, let's all give our picks. What's our over under on bong rips for Calvin Johnson while he's watching the Lions game? I'm gonna set it at 3.5 maybe.
I like 3.5. I'll take the over on that.
Okay. Joe?
I say that Calvin Johnson smokes more bong rips than that, but he is not watching the Lions game. I think Calvin Johnson at this point now is just like watching great wide receivers and avoiding the Lions at all costs. He'll be watching Titans-Falcons while that game's on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's watching the game, but he's definitely over 3.5. Okay, Panthers under Kyle Allen, the new star quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, is 4.5-point underdogs at the Houston Texans. Cam is out for the foreseeable future, it seems. However, Kyle Allen played great last week. He looked great under Norv Turner's system. From everything that I've read, he fits Turner's system much better than Cam Newton. Do we think he keeps this close? We'll start with you, Joe, in Houston. It's 4.5.
I think he does keep it close, but 4.5 to me is close. I just think being a home game in Houston, I think the Texans, and everybody knows how I feel about Bill O'Brien. I don't think the Texans, have Super Bowl winning potential. I don't think that they'll ever be a Super Bowl contender with Bill O'Brien. But like I've said about Bill O'Brien, he's going to win the easy games, and he's going to lose the tough games. And in an AFC South with, Luck retiring and Gardner Minshew as much of a, I don't know, Twitter hero or social media hero as he is for everybody, I think that's going to be a fairly easy division for them game to game. I think that the Texans win this game and cover. I agree that Kyle Allen and basically any other quarterback that is not first and foremost a tailback is going to be an improvement over a Cam Newton, who's, again, always injured when he doesn't play well and always healthy when he is playing well. But I just like the Texans. I think the sophomore slump, game 2 sophomore slump for Kyle Allen. I don't think he comes out and throws for 4 touchdowns.
I'm going to go Panthers here. I like the Panthers in this game. I think the wrong team's favored.
Wow, you like the Panthers to win?
I think Panthers are going to win this game. I am a Kyle Allen slurper. He played great in Week 17 of last year as well. Won that game. Won the previous game. Now, we got to consider who we're playing against. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Let's not get crazy. But I think the Panthers are a good team. They have weapons. Cam was not able to utilize these weapons. Kyle Allen is. The Texans' defense, trouble running against them, can throw on them. They're like bottom third in the league in secondary. So you get Greg Olsen, who looks like a younger Greg Olsen, who looks very good. You got Samuels, you got DJ Moore, you got McCaffrey, who's always dangerous. I just feel like the Panthers are going to get this win.
All right, I'm not going to say win, but, man, I was teetering on where to go. I almost feel like Tug has convinced me to go with the Panthers to cover. I like the Texans as a team, especially.
By the way, that's what's called the McChicken cheeseburger theory. If you ever go to McDonald's and you get a one McChicken sandwich and one cheeseburger, whichever one you eat second is the one that you feel like, I should have just ordered 2 of those. So you just got McChicken by Tug.
Yes.
If I had gone second, you'd be like, I don't know, Praino swayed me.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go Panthers.
But by the way, please go with Tug.
Yeah, you actually won, Joe. You won.
I know. I want you across the aisle for me on all picks.
37-20 Texans.
All right. Next up, we have the You Fool Raiders, 6.5 dogs as they travel to Indy to face the Colts. The Raiders, the first year we ever did this, Joe, they just kept burning you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where this is headed this year for me. You talked about the Falcons doing that for you because I keep being wrong on the Raiders, and it just keeps happening. And at this point,
but at this point you were like the same goes for basically everybody. Everybody got burned on the Raiders week 1 because they showed up, but ever since then they have not covered. Correct?
Exactly. So my thing is, I keep thinking they're going to show up, and they don't. 6.5 is big. I don't care. I'm going Jacoby Brissett and Indianapolis Colts.
It's Brissett. You guys both say Brissett. It really bothers me.
I also say Josie, so it's fine.
I'm cool with Jamarcus Winston. But don't disrespect my boy Jacoby Brissett. I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of everything they're doing at Indianapolis right now. Little tug nug for you guys.
Tug nug.
Under John Gruden, the last 2 years, the Raiders are 1-8 in away games, being outscored by an average of 15.2 points a game. They don't play a home game until November 3rd.
What?
They play at the Colts. They play a home game in London
Cheerio.
against Chicago next week. Then the bye. Then they go at Green Bay, at Houston, home to Detroit. So my point is I think they're in for a long slog if the trends stay trends. The Colts, Jacoby Brissett played awesome last week. He was awesome. I mean, for what Jacoby Brissett does, played really well last week. I don't know if he can keep that up, but Marlon Mack, I remember watching this game in Vegas last year. The Colts beat the Raiders in Oakland. Or maybe I was watching a different game because I was doing the tug nug. But Marlon Mack could have a game this week. This is a Marlon Mack game.
Return of the Mack.
Wow, there we go. Give me the Colts -6.5.
I'm on the Colts. This Raiders team is an abomination. Knock on wood if you're with me.
This Raiders team is an abomination. Real quick before we move to the next game, the NFL really is giving the big middle finger to Oakland, huh? The fans, the city, they don't have a home game till November.
Crazy, right?
They're like, we're not going to leave. You're basically not going to have a game until November, minus the first home game.
See you when we see you.
Unbelievable.
I think they were trying to limit the amount of times they played on a field that had a pitcher's mound on it. So
yeah, it's probably
they're waiting for baseball season to be over.
That's probably a good point.
Moneyball.
But if you are an Oakland Raider fan, yo fool, and you want to catch the Raiders in Oakland before they head to Las Vegas, get those tickets on SeatGeek. Guys, SeatGeek is the official ticket app of the Dirty Sports Podcast, and it's the only app you should be getting your tickets during the NFL season. Or if you're a big concert goer like my friend here on my left, Tug Coker, you should get those tickets on SeatGeek. Tug, you got any big concerts coming up that you're going to see?
I do. I have two. I've actually used SeatGeek to get tickets for Brittany Howard, the lead singer of Alabama Shakes.
Okay.
Doing a show at the Ace Hotel.
Amazing.
And then I have a show that Joe I know is fond of, Tom York.
From Radiohead.
Yes.
Radiohead playing it.
I completely forgot that concert's coming up. I may have to SeatGeek my way into that one.
Well, if you don't, Joe, let me
well.
know. Let me talk to the wife, and if she doesn't want to go, it's going to be a date night with you and me.
I'm glad that you guys completely ignored me going. That's cool. I appreciate that.
I'll bring the Nug Coker.
Andy called him Radio Hog. That's why I didn't want to invite him. He called the band Radio Hog.
The only thing appropriate about Andy Ruther going to a Tom York concert is you guys both have a fucked up eye.
All right, let me finish this ad read. SeatGeek will even give you $10 off on your first SeatGeek purchase. All you need to do is use our promo code. So download the SeatGeek app today and use promo code DIRTY for $10 off on your first purchase. That's promo code DIRTY for $10 off on your first purchase. Okay, fellas, we have
Hold on. Before we move on from that, I want to do 2 quick ads to that ad read and the conversation we're having therein. One, I'll be on SeatGeek looking for tickets for the Friday night Cardinals game here in St. Louis. I know some dirtballs have reached out. I know some dirtballs are still waiting to hear where I'll be sitting, and a lot of things up in the air right now. Dirtballs. I'm working on getting some guest spots at the comedy clubs here, and so when those all get ironed out, I'll know exactly what game I'm going to and where I'm sitting. So stay tuned to my Twitter feed for updates on that, and also just for Tug, since I have him here. Tug, Tom York just did an episode of Desert Island Discs, the BBC show, where he talks about what CDs and records and whatever he would bring on a desert island. So check that out.
That's
and also
awesome.
Anybody who's a Radiohead fan or Tom York fan out there, check that out.
And real quick before we get going, Aaron's got to get out of here in like 8 minutes, so we got to get through these. He's got law school to get to.
Let's do it.
And I love having Aaron here. He's always a big help. with that Mickey Mouse smile over there. Okay, Chargers and Dolphins. The Chargers are 15.5-point favorites in Miami. I picked the Dolphins to cover last week. I'm going to do it again. I think Dolphins cover. 15.5 is too big for me. I'm going Dolphins to cover in Miami.
I like the Dolphins as well. I'll just take this one real fast. Melvin Gordon is back. He's not going to play this week. I don't think it's going to matter. I think my crystal ball says Eckler and Gordon split carries for the bulk of the rest of the year. Eckler looks too good. But anytime you get 15.5 at home, I'm going to take it, especially against a team that you cannot trust.
Yeah, exactly.
The LA Chargers. I've not been able to trust them. Still don't trust them. Going with Josh Rosen and the Dolphins.
I'm going with the Chargers. Ruther, you said you picked the Dolphins last week. You were wrong last week. They ended up not covering.
Correct. I know. I know.
They can't score a touchdown.
That backdoor cover.
Right. I just think you got to be able to score at some point to get a backdoor cover. I just think that I don't love this Chargers team. I think that this is the beginning of the end. I look forward to Phillip Rivers getting the Eli Manning treatment in his waning days, where people just decide to, shove a Hall of Fame QB under the bus and hold him down. So I think this is the end of them. But I think that one thing that'll keep people off his back is when he blows out terrible teams, which he's going to do against the Dolphins.
All right. Speaking of Eli Manning, your Giants, after the big win last week on the road in Tampa, are home 2.5-point favorites against Case Interception Keenum and the Redskins. 2.5 Giants favorites. I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to go with the Giants. I just can't vouch for the Redskins because Case Keenum's a disaster. The Redskins are a disaster. Danny Dimes is at home. Damn, Daniel, win and cover.
I'm gonna go. Oh man, I hate this game. I would never play this game in real life. I'm gonna go with Washington as a Andy Ruther fade. Also, just playing up the fact that everyone knows who follows sports, the Redskins are terrible, all-time bad on Monday Night Football home games. So everyone got to see how bad they are. I think they're going to battle back. Maybe Danny Dimes comes back to earth, a little bit of game film on him. And the rushing defense for Redskins is good. Passing is not so good. So I expect points in this game. I expect to see points, and I'll take the Redskins.
I think that there's definitely going to be an overreaction to Happiness Jones' first game. I think that the Giants' defense remains terrible. But I'm basing this pick solely on the fact that the Redskins looked as bad as they did. And by the way, I don't think they should have gone to Dwayne Haskins in that game and served him up to the Wolves, but I would have gone to Dwayne Haskins literally at the whistle. I would have yelled, Dwayne Haskins is starting next week. And the fact that they're starting Case Keenum again after that performance shows me that I don't know. Gruden is drunk. Knock on wood if you're with me. I'm going the Giants to win and cover.
All right, moving on. The Seahawks travel to the Cardinals. Ya boy, Backdoor Murray. 5-point dogs. I think this has a Cardinals cover written all over it. The Seahawks have been suspect this year. They've been suspect in the past in Arizona. I believe the Seahawks eked out a win there last year that was close on the road. I wouldn't even be shocked if the Cardinals had a huge upset win here. I'm going the Cardinals to definitely cover this spread.
I agree with everything you said. I'm also taking the Cardinals. I think I said going into the season, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks lose a game in Arizona this year. I would be surprised if they lost it, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Backdoor Murray backdoors his way into a cover. So I'm with you.
I was going to go Cardinals as well, but just for fun and because of the fade Ruther, I'm going to go Seattle. I have no reason to believe that. I think the Cardinals actually keep this close, but I just want to play the odds and bet against Andy.
By the way, that is the haircut when I go to Trippy. He's like, yo, what you want today? I'm like, the Andy Ruther fade. There's a picture. You know how they have pictures of people's haircuts?
Yep.
There's a picture of my haircut actually in the barbershop.
And it's just you just have Seahawks -5 on the bottom of your hair, and he just shaves it off.
Exactly. All right, Bucks travel to the Rams. Rams are 9.5-point favorites out here in the Coliseum. Bucks on the road, Jamarcus Winston. Jared Goff at home is great. The Rams' offense at home is great. I'm going Rams to win and cover.
I'll take the Bucs here. Obviously, are they devastated by losing that game? Probably, but the Rams are still figuring something out. They're 3-0, but they don't look like they're the well-oiled machine from last year. I think they can still win by a touchdown.
But their defense is playing better than it did last year.
The defense is playing better, but Tampa Bay's defense has been very good this year.
Okay.
Last game accepted, Danny Dimes went off, but the run game of Tampa Bay has been very good. So I expect Gurley to be kept in check. And my little tug nug on this game is, I know you guys love medium pizzas. Here's my nugget on Jared Goff has fumbled in his last 9 regular season games.
Wow.
In those last 9 games, he has 17 touchdowns and 20 turnovers. So I expect
$100 million man.
I expect that trend to continue. I expect to see 10 games with a fumble. Turnovers are real. Helpful for the dog. Bucs covered 9.5.
I don't like betting on medium pizzas when the spread's 9.5, but Jamarcus Winston is a gummy pizza. He's a 1-inch wide candy pizza. That's not even really pizza. It's just candy.
Do those exist?
Gummy pizzas, bro. I mean, you haven't been smoking enough no-coker if you don't know about gummy pizza. Jamarcus Winston is I'll never bet on him. Their defense looked fine, and then Danny Dimes ends up coming in and carving them on the road. I think the one thing that gives me certainty that the Rams cover is it's pretty easy to drive down and get scores when you're starting inside the other team's half of the field, which will happen when Jamarcus Winston throws picks and fumbles and all the other horrible things that little gummy pizzas do. So I'm taking the Rams.
All right. Vikings-Bears. Good NFC North matchup. The Bears are 2-point favorites at home against the Vikings, which is interesting. Is right, you're spotted 3 points as the home team, correct, Tug?
Yeah, usually when you're even, it's usually a 3-point favorite. So they're saying the Vikings are a better team on a neutral field.
Exactly. This is a tough one for me. The Bears' D is looking great. I'm still not on Mitchell Trubisky. However, there's the Kirk Cousins effect. I've ridden them mostly this year. I'm going to ride the Bears to win and cover in Soldier Field.
Joe, what about you?
This is actually a tough game for me. I agree with Vegas. I think the Vikings might be the better team on a neutral field. That being said, I'm not getting burned by Kirk Cousins against a good defense. I have seen Kirk Cousins in the NFC East against good defenses. He has made a living by stockpiling points and touchdowns and yards when he is playing against bad teams, but good teams eat him alive. I'm going with the Bears. I had marked this up as a potential money line upset pick, but I can't do it.
2 gummy pizzas for quarterbacks in this game. You can't trust either one. Trubisky has looked terrible.
Yeah.
Cousins he threw 10 times in game 1, threw a devastating red zone touchdown in game 2. Can't trust either guy. Both really good defenses. I expect this game to be 16-13. I was going to go Bears, but now since both of you went Bears, just by obligation as being the guest, I'm going to go Vikings.
That makes me want to go Vikings and leave Ruther out in the cold.
Correct.
Go for it. Do it, Joe. You want to do it. Have faith in your boy Kirk Cousins.
I didn't want to do it because the Bears D is so good. God, it's really a no-win situation.
You can't win with this game. I
either get burned by Trubisky or I get burned by the Vikings. I'm going to switch over and go to the Vikings because my gut told me that was the pick at the start of the week, and I'm going back. I'm jumping aboard the SS Nug Coker.
Skull. Good for you, Joe. I love it. Okay, Jags and my boy Gardner Minshew are 3-point underdogs in Denver. I love Gardner. The Broncos D hasn't had a sack this year. Did you guys see this?
Incredible. I know.
They have a defensive-minded new head coach. They have not had a sack this year. But can Gardner Minshew pull out a close game on the road in Denver, a very difficult place to play? I don't know yet. 3 points, but the Jags also do have a good D of their own. There is no way the Broncos start 0-4. I just can't believe it. I got to go Denver. As much as I don't want to, even though I'm picking Denver, I will be rooting for Gardner Minshew and the Jags. I just think this is maybe a come-down-to-earth game for him. And I believe the sack streak ends and he gets sacked.
So
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. I agree with you, Ruther. I think that the sack streak ends. I think all the talk about it, like no one talks about this Broncos defense goes 2 games without a sack. But then when they go 3, it becomes like everybody's favorite stat of the week. How is this Broncos defense not, getting the quarterback, blah, blah, blah. I think this is just this is the both scripts get flipped. Everybody's on the Gardner Minshew train. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves what he's doing. And the Broncos defense has been suspect. I think it gets flipped. I think the Broncos defense comes out. They get to the quarterback. They get to the rookie. I could see it being a 3-point game, and I could certainly see the Jags covering. But I agree with you, Ruther. I hate anytime I say that phrase. But
but it sounds so good, Joe.
I don't see the Broncos starting 0-4. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. They say, don't take the underdog unless you think they can win outright, which I do think they can do. But if the Broncos win, I feel like it's by 3, or 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Broncos.
I want to go contrarian here as well, but I'm going to
go with your heart, Tug.
I'm going to go Broncos also. I just feel like 2 not great teams. And you just got to take the home field advantage. I feel like, honestly, the Broncos are probably, without the disastrous last week, they're probably a 4-point favorite. So I'll take the little value.
All right, Sunday Night Football. The Cowboys travel to New Orleans to face the Saints. The boys are 2.5-point favorites on the road. No love for Teddy Bridgewater after winning on the road, and the New Orleans all-around basically team game last week was very well played in Seattle. Do the Cowboys lose their first game this week? I mean, they are 2.5-point favorites in New Orleans. I'm going to just keep riding them, man. I'm going Cowboys to win and cover.
Joe?
Oh, I can't even believe Andy talked before you did, Tug. This is your team. This is your boys.
I'm gonna bring
How about
last.
them Cowboys?
Yeah.
I insist that you tell me what you think about this Cowboys team.
Yeah, this game scares me. They play this game, and then they play the Packers, I believe, next week. And those games are the Cowboys' schedule has been what? Giants, Redskins, Dolphins.
Been pretty easy.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Like, we're not beating the Patriots here.
Yeah.
So I am nervous about the situation. The one thing that gives me some optimism is Kellen Moore and the fact that Teddy Bridgewater did not throw a pass more than 15 yards down the field the entire game on Sunday.
Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dink and dumps, which I think plays into the speed of the linebackers.
And 2 touchdowns were non-offensive.
That's right. So, I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. It always scares me to bet on the Cowboys, but I feel like they should win this game.
I am going with the New Orleans Saints. I have no confidence in saying that, but sometimes I get visions, and my vision is I can't see clearly which team is kicking and which team is trying to block that kick. But I think this game comes down to a field goal at the end of the game. I think it's going to be close till the final buzzer. And so I could see it being 1-2 points either way. So I'm just going to go with the Saints to cover.
All right. And your Monday Night Football game is arguably one of the worst Monday Night Football games we've had in recent years. The 0-3 Bengals travel to the 0-3 Steelers. Andy Dalton versus Mason Rudolph. The Steelers are 4-point favorites. I don't even know who to pick here. Let me go last on this one. Can you guys, Tug, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers here. One because Andy Dalton is notoriously terrible on primetime games.
Awful.
And so I'm not one to buck a trend that I don't believe in. I think Andy Dalton will continue to be terrible. Maybe Mason Rudolph will be equally terrible, but you got to show me something.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, I'm also going to Steelers. A couple of factors here: one, the Andy Dalton in prime time; two, the Andy Dalton just versus a rival team in Pittsburgh. I hate this game. I don't even know if I'll watch this game. It's it disgusts me that they can't already flex these games out of Monday night. Honestly, I still think the spread's too high. Like you look at the Bengals scores throughout the first three games, it's kind of wild that they are 0-3. They've been in most of their football games. But I just think, just like the Broncos, like, are the Steelers, as great a franchise as they am, regardless of who their quarterback is, are they starting 0-4? I don't think so. Meanwhile, the Bengals, as dumpster fire a franchise as they are, I could totally see them starting 0-4. So I'm going with the Steelers.
I'm going to agree with both of you. The Steelers are going to win. They're going to cover. Andy Dalton is atrocious, and I mean like all-time atrocious in primetime games. So was Marvin Lewis, and I don't see it happening, even with a backup quarterback. So Steelers for me as well. And that is the Week 4 picks.
I will say this. Of the primetime games, Sunday night, Monday night, one of those underdogs will probably win. Either the Saints or the Bengals. I don't know which one it's going to be.
Really?
I don't know which one it's going to be. So one of those teams is going to win, though.
Let me ask you guys this then real quick. Does Mike Tomlin, if they start 0-4, does Mike Tomlin finish out the season as the head coach of the Steelers?
100%. 100%. The Steelers are just an organization that don't
fire midseason.
They don't turn over coaches.
Yeah.
So they might have a discussion at the end of the year, but I don't see the Rooneys making that move in midseason.
Yeah, and I think Roethlisberger getting hurt gives him a free pass. Also, a lot of people don't know the Rooney Rule. They talk a lot about part 1 of the Rooney Rule, which is you have to interview a minority coach for any available coaching jobs. The second part of the Rooney Rule is you have to keep a terrible coach as your head coach if he's black, just because.
Oh, I didn't know about that part.
Yeah, and that's how Mike Tomlin will be the Steelers coach forever.
I think the days of Mike Tomlin may be numbered, but like they're throwing good money after bad, and it's not going to work out because they traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They gave up a first-round pick.
Yeah.
That first-round pick right now is currently number 4.
Wow.
So I understand wanting to bolster your defense, but your defense is not the problem. It's the coaching. And it's and also Mike Munchak was the offensive line coach, and they were the top 5 offensive line team for 4 or 5 years. He's not there this year. So there's just a lot of issues that need to be looked in the mirror with the Steelers.
All right. Well, we have a lot of different picks. Glad we could get you on, Joe. We've been able to hear these birds in the background. You're enjoying the lovely scenery of the Midwest. And also make sure you try, I'm sure you've heard, toasted ravioli is a big thing in St. Louis.
That is something I'm actually very excited for. As an Italian man, I've had just about every kind of Italian fare, but everybody's saying that's the signature dish here, and that's literally number 1 on my list, maybe just behind Busch Stadium and the Anheuser-Busch Brewery.
Cool. Yeah, well, I hope you get to experience all that. And, guys, of course, you can follow Joe on Twitter at Fix Your Life and on Instagram at Joe Praino. And joepraino.com for all your shows. Right, Joe?
That's right. Instagram, Joe Praino. That's the important one because I'm dealing out hot fire picks. So get there. Somebody just asked me when I'll be posting them. I'll start posting them late Saturday instead of early Sunday, as I know a lot of people like to get their bets in early. They don't like to be, running against the clock here. So follow me on Instagram. I'm on fire so far, and I feel really good about it.
Real quick before we let you go, Joe, speaking of bets, Tug's, I believe, number 2 or 3 team, Virginia Cavaliers, in a top 25 showdown play Notre Dame this week.
Wow.
In Notre Dame, my good buddy Chad Cutter will be attending.
Shout out to Cutter, yep. Sorry I can't be there, buddy.
I know he asked Tug if Tug wanted to make the trip. Now, any little fun little side bets you guys want to do, or any interest in that?
I mean, I'm down. I like at this point, I don't care all that much about it, but like it is a matchup between my team that I didn't even go to school there and one of the many teams Tug roots for in college football. So yeah, I'm down.
Should we do the all you can eat sushi?
Oh yeah.
I love it. Let's do it.
Spread, right?
What's the line on that?
I don't know.
Tug?
Whatever the line is, we'll make it happen.
By the way, I hate Notre Dame to cover. So yeah, but fuck it, let's go.
I'm not gonna do it straight up. I mean, just.
I have no idea I don't even know what it is. But
it's in. By the way, it's in South Bend.
I'm in either way. Let's do this.
I forgot to
Notre Dame is 11.5-point favorites.
There we go. I'll take all 11. I forgot to cancel Joe after his Mike Tomlin comment.
Oh yeah, cancel. a delayed cancel.
Yes.
All right, Praino. Well, we'll let you go. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Or maybe he'll just, Tug, what if Joe just loves that quality of life so much he never comes back?
Falls in love with that toasted ravioli.
Yeah. Oh, and I do want to say before I go.
Are you there?
I do want to say, Tug, I played tennis yesterday.
This evolution has been incredible to watch this year. I can't wait. You need an Instagram story of that, please.
I mean, look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us. I went to therapy yesterday. Joe's playing tennis. Who are we anymore?
Yeah. This evolution is incredible.
More like
watch.
the Chill podcast,
Seriously.
am I right? Not the Dirty Sports podcast. All right, Praino, we'll let you go, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
You
too, buddy.
Joe.
All righty. I think that's the show, Tug.
That's it.
We made it happen. Aaron had a jet for class. Very efficient over there, making all his notes for us, and he got out of here. Guys, follow my buddy over here, at Tug Coker on Twitter and Instagram. Joe makes his hot fire pics on Instagram. Tug makes his hot fire live from concerts.
Do my live
videos.
concert shows. Check them out. Also going to be launching a podcast with my wife, hopefully next week, talking about wine, alcoholic beverages. My wife is a wine sommelier, former sommelier of the year of people who drink wine from Food and Wine magazine. Very proud of her.
Oh, wow.
Happy to talk about that. Maybe you'll learn something, pick up a bottle at your local store. Hopefully we'll be launching that next week. And Andy and I are talking about this little podcast as a little companion to the Dirty Sports. We'll see if we can get that going soon.
Basically the Tug Nug version of a podcast.
Tug Nugs. That could be it. That could be it right there. But as always, thank you to Joe for letting me fill in. Love talking sports with you guys, canceling you guys, keeping you all PC. And thanks to the dirtballs out there at Tug Coker on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, you guys can follow us at The Dirty Sports for all social media and follow me at Andy Ruther. Drop that iTunes review and leave your Twitter or Instagram handle, and I'll send you some koozies, and I'll also send you some koozies if you send me a screenshot of using any of our sponsors, and all those sponsor links are always in the description of the podcast. Okay, Dirtballs, once again, thanks for all the support. Have a great week, and most importantly, stay dirty.